Hey guys, this is Crystal with Open to Public HVAC School, and today we're going to take a look at the order of operations in our systems and these fail-proof methods to help diagnose the problems. Number 1, pay attention to the original problem. What is happening? Does your heat work, but your AC doesn't come on? If you have gas heating, gas can be slightly more complicated than air handlers or electric systems, unless of course you have a heat pump. With gas, it's especially important to know what the order of operations are before your heat turns on. I recommend checking out our video on our main page that tells you the order of operations on a gas system before you start diagnosing or trying to do your own repairs before you have no idea what could actually be happening. And the reason why I say that is you're going to be getting frustrating error codes that are just basically telling you your system's locked out because you have the door or panel to your unit open while you are calling for heat, which will cause it to automatically fail. Let's say, for example, your fan motor or your blower motor on your inside unit is not coming on. Have you tried testing this in all settings on your thermostat? I find when dealing with a blower motor that is simply not coming on, go ahead and just turn fan on your thermostat to see if it even works at all. Number 2, does your thermostat come on? If your thermostat isn't coming on at all, that points you to you need to be looking for power coming into the thermostat. You might just need to replace batteries, or possibly one of the wires, the power wires have become severed, or your thermostat's just bad. When dealing with something like that, make sure that you are actually getting power to your thermostat if your thermostat is not working. Which leads us to number 3, trace your power. So it's extremely important to trace your power. Are you 100% beyond a shadow of a doubt sure that you have power? And not just your high side power. You need to make sure that you also have your low side power. On that note, do you have power from your disconnect box outside to your outside condensing unit? The number one thing people do wrong with checking for power is they're not using things correctly when testing for power. Number 4, check your breakers. Make sure that they have not tripped. Not your disconnect outside, or if you have an air handler, the breakers inside, but the actual breakers from your main panel. This is especially important when diagnosing a unit that simply will not come on outside. This can point to other issues including your compressor overamping, pressure issues, or a weak breaker. If we simply can knock out the fact that it might not be something tripping the power, we know that we can then move on to something else. So make sure that the breakers you are checking are the actual ones that provide power to your outdoor unit or the one that is in your main panel. You will also need to do this in case nothing works on your indoor air handler, but more often than not, this is tripping due to something going on with amp draw, pressure issues, or your compressor outside. Number 5, use your tools correctly and have the right tools for the job. In a few of our videos, we show how to properly use your leads from your multimeter to check that you are doing this correctly. Make sure that your meter is on the correct setting. And while some technicians will do quick checks to make sure something isn't hot before working on it, when we are doing diagnostics on the power on your unit, do not use those cheap touch sticks just to realize that it's hot. When your condenser is on load and there might be power coming through, you don't know how much power is coming through. So without knowing that, how can you know if you're having power issues without knowing the exact voltage that's coming into your unit? I hear a lot of older gentlemen coming into my store and saying, I have power. What I've learned over the years is to actually ask them, how much power are you getting to the outside unit? How much power are you getting to your indoor unit? When you check at your relays, you should have a certain amount of current, depending on the type of voltage it uses. AC will always alternate in a range since it is alternating current, which means you should not be reading an exact 24 volts or 240 volts. It should range somewhere between 240 to 244, just as your 24 volts should be reading somewhere between 26 to 28 volts. If you are in fact reading lower voltage coming out to your unit or going into your air handler or gas furnace, you know there is a power issue. This will save you a lot of heartache. Trust me. And number 6, the most important thing you can do for yourself as a homeowner or as a new technician. Stop taking the lazy way out and just changing parts. One of the largest offenders I have of this mentality are apartment maintenance men. And this might not be their fault alone. Often they're overworked and they don't have a lot of time to sit at each apartment to try and figure out what's going on. So the logic to them states, just change it out. And while that might work with somebody else's money, it's not going to help you if you own many properties, or if you're trying to repair something in your own home, or if you're trying to repair your customer's home. I can guarantee you that they or you are not going to be happy with those results. It can get extremely costly. As a prime example, I once had a gentleman spend over $600 because he refused to believe that all he had going on was low airflow in his indoor unit, when all he needed to do was change his filters and clean his evaporator coils. Now, how stubborn is that? If you're going to get yourself into DIY and repairing your own things, you need to be open to the idea that it might not be what you originally thought it was, and push down that pride to really pay attention to what your unit is telling you. Preventative maintenance is the number one thing to keep your unit running strong for many years to come, and also keeping your customers, your tenants, or you as the homeowner happy. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope that these tips help you to properly diagnose or at least lead you in the correct direction on what you need to do to find the problem. As always, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below and I will answer them as soon as possible. Thank you so much again and have a wonderful day. If you did enjoy this, please make sure to hit the like button or subscribe, as this will help us as a channel grow and help you more. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you again soon in our next video.